So all this rubbish, was he like that before his brain injury? Again, the facts is there wasn't a brain injury. So whoever's saying brain injury is looking at a document wrong. It was a Glasgow coma. Now, what it actually stated on the day, so I did have a bleed on my brain in the past, but there was no brain injury what people have made out. There was no change in me. This is where we're going around circus for 10 years. My mother and other family members, I'm not close to any family member alive. And any person who claims they know me, let me explain to you something. Since 2002, I worked 7 days a week. I never had time for a social life. I never had time for friends. I was always working. No one knows me except for me. My parents I've never been close to. I was close to my grandparents. I was close to my great-grandmother. I was close to my great-uncle. There's not one person alive who can clarify what I was like in the past besides myself. The gathered information that's been gathered and spread about me in the last 10 years is nothing to do with me. There's projections, what family members say they project. So there's photos of me with family members, that's right. You've seen photos with me turning up to a family function. So what people have said, he wasn't like this before. And then they've given a description of somebody else. Okay, yes I was. And I've already backed this up with photos. Go and have a look at photos of me on how I used to dress smart casually. So I'm traveling around America, right? January and February 2001, I'm traveling around America with my twin sister Amanda. Have a look at what I'm wearing in smart casual. Okay, very much what I'm wearing now, except my clothes are more expensive. I was wearing Armani shirts. These are how I've always dressed. I've always been sophisticated. Okay, I've never been a drug user. So was he anti-cannabis before? I've always been anti-cannabis. Joseph Mena, I met in 2003. The first date we ever went on was the 1st of August 2003. It was his birthday. I took him to Astrals, and I should have realized then, yeah, don't date him after this. Now, I said to him, okay, zero tolerance. I have a zero tolerance to drugs and alcohol. People that use drugs and alcohol. And he said, oh, he smokes an occasional joint with his mother. I said, no, you have to give that up. Okay. Every time I found out he smoked cannabis, I left him, which is why I had a fling with Carlos Azzi. He used to own Giotto Cafe in Stanley Street. All right. This is back in 2003. Okay. Because by April 2004, I dumped him. I dumped him because he smoked cannabis. That's why I left him. He smoked the joint with his mother, and he was begging my grandmother Lola said, but Nan, it was hardly any cannabis in it. And Nan's there going, Joseph, it's between you and Justin. You know how he stands on drugs and alcohol. He's always been anti-drugs and alcohol. And that was it. And Joe's like, please, will you see him out? I'm like, no, we're over. I didn't date him for a year. I'm like, we are over. That's it. I do not ever date somebody that has been or is a drug user or has ever had drug and alcohol problems. You can't just sit down and have an aperitif. Okay? I would never ever deal with people as a friend that will be like the characteristics of my mother and her sisters. I would never be friends with people like that ever in my entire life. If you can't sit down and have a pub lunch, say if you're having a T-bone steak and you can't just have a soft drink or one drink and end it at one drink, then you are not like-minded to me. Okay, for starters, I can't handle any more than half a drink, like 1.5. I get caught a Cadbury because myself and my twin sister have never been drug or alcohol users. That's why. So the gathered information that has been gathered through government organisations now for 10 years is just bullshit. It doesn't relate to me at all. Okay, and what everybody gathered after 2015 that isn't me. It's not me. I was playing a prank on idiots because I was getting monitored and surveillanced. I keep saying 2016 to 2018, that's not me. That was fake. I'm being a smartass because I was getting monitored and surveillanced. Simple. That's not who I am. That's me being a smartass to prove that it was monitoring and surveillance and confuse the fuck out of everybody. Simple.